Hey, hello, good morning. It's the 12th of May and I'm going for a blood test for my 18-week update. And I have to say that, I am now officially a health freak because I brought a bunch of my friends to do the blood test with me. There you go. Yeah, all right. Keep you updated. Where's my cookies?
That man has emergency cookies.
All right, so the blood results just came back, and just like last time, they are quite surprising. However, last time I was positively surprised, and this time not so much. First off, let's start with my kidney values. In this case, we will be talking about EGFR. EGFR is basically the filtration rate of your kidneys that they use in order to determine the health of it. I will tell you why I don't find it very reliable after telling you my value. So last time I did this test, my values pinged at 93, which was a big jump from the 78 I got just 2 months before that. Back then I was very positively surprised, and I had introduced cardio 4 times a week into my protocol. Now, only 2 months later, my values showed at 64, which is basically the bottom of the range. You want to keep your EGFR over 60 at all times, because under 60 is where you could get chronic kidney disease, which is very hard to come back from, if not impossible. Now, first off, I'm going over some minor changes that I've had in the past 2 months that might have altered these results just a little bit. The past few weeks, I haven't been using all of my supplements every single day. I've missed a few days here and there. Furthermore, I also didn't have time to put in all of my cardio sessions. And the third and final small change that I've done was using Enavar at a mini dose of 12.5 milligrams per day for 2 weeks. Because one of my friends was coming to Thailand and I wanted to lean down a little bit and gain a bit of strength to get through a strength plateau. Usually, men use doses of 25 to 80 milligrams per day for about 6 to 8 weeks. So 12.5 milligrams for 2 weeks, which is pretty close to our female doses. Most women in competitions use 5 to 10 milligrams per day for about 6 weeks as well, can, in my opinion, not have been such a detriment to my kidney values. Now I will explain you why I don't really trust these results at all. EGFR is a very inaccurate way of measuring your kidneys. However, it's very cheap and is the most common method in order to test your kidney values. On average, the EGFR test is only 40% accurate. And for people that fit my profile of working out a lot and eating a lot of protein, it's even less accurate. There is another test that is undoubtedly way more accurate, up to 93%, called cystatin C. I've done this test somewhere in the past year, and when trying to convert the values to EGFR, it gave me a value of 112. Frankly, a guy like me who watches his food, diet, calories, and everything else health-related shouldn't have values that are this low. As long as I have been doing blood tests, which is about 5 years now, I've always had EGFR showing between 64 and 72. Mind you, this was way before I ever used testosterone or whatnot. The 15-point difference going from 78 to 93 2 months ago, I could kind of explain because I went from no cardio at all to doing cardio 4 times a week. And on top of that, I implemented a lot of supplementation in order to protect my kidneys. However, this 30-point drop, I simply cannot explain, and I don't believe these values are accurate. The small changes that I just covered simply do not warrant a drop like that. If this drop would be accurate, then a few months from now, if I continue as I am, I would be having very low values. However, I do not believe that this is the case. Furthermore, my BUN came down. It went to 18, which is within range. Alongside, creatinine went up and is now out of range. This, to be honest, is very confusing to me, and I do not have a rational explanation for it. So again, this tells me that this test might not be very accurate and that I have to do another run very soon. Creatinine might be slightly elevated because of Enavar, but it shouldn't make that much of a difference. And quite frankly, I'm wondering, why would my BUN come down? My BUN levels have actually never been in range as long as I've been doing blood tests. Now let's move on to the rest of the blood work. Since I haven't tested prolactin since March last year, and that was way before I started introducing testosterone, I figured I would go and test that one as well. My prolactin came back at 16 nanograms per milliliter, which is pretty high, but it's within range and I feel totally fine. So for now, I'm not going to be making any changes regarding my prolactin. Cholesterol. My cholesterol is a very known issue to me. My HDL, last time I tested it, was at 28, and this time it was at 28 as well. Slightly disappointing because I've been doing my cardio and I've been taking all sorts of supplements. But now that the rainy season is here in Thailand, I've decided that I'm going to be taking my cardio much more serious by doing morning runs with a friend. My LDL actually came up and is now out of range. And this could also be coming down to the NFR, but honestly, I don't know, and I'm going to be doing another test very soon. It being at only 147 is not alarming to me though, and I honestly think that if I'll be introducing cardio in the form of morning runs, that problem will probably disappear very soon as well. Also, in the last month and a half, I've been eating differently because I haven't been tracking my calories that much anymore, as I was simply trying to recomp at the same body weight. So my diet has been much less strict, and I've gone to many restaurants instead of just eating homemade meals and watching all of my macronutrients religiously. My total cholesterol is currently sitting at 194, which is still within range, and as I'm going to be doing much more cardio very soon, I expect my LDL to come down, my HDL to come up, and for me to remain within the range with much better values and a better ratio. I've never tested DHEA before, and I decided to do it, and I'm sorry to say, but it's quite uneventful because it came back in the middle of the range, so there's not much I can say about it. Now we're going to cover another surprising part of my blood work though. A few months ago, I raised my testosterone dose from 200 milligrams per week to 250 milligrams per week. This is a 25% increase. Alongside that, I raised my HCG from 750 IUs per week to 1050 IUs per week, for which I had two reasons. The first reason was that my loads were not as big as they used to be before using exogenous testosterone. And the second reason being that the ratio between testosterone and estradiol was pretty far off of what it should be in my opinion. The ratio that I had was 1:43. My estradiol was around 50 and my total testosterone was at 2150. Even though I felt fine and I reported feeling fine in the last video, I know that a ratio of 1:20 between testosterone and estradiol is much more beneficial. So this gave me some leeway to increase the ACG to fix the other issue that I had. So I increased my testosterone by 25% and my HCG by 40%. I expected my total testosterone to be around 3000, as it was 2150 on 200 milligrams and 750 IUs of ACG. However, my total was only 2400 right now, with an estradiol rating of 106. 2400 divided by 106 is about 22, so we get a ratio of 1:22. In my opinion, a ratio of about 1:20 estradiol to testosterone is optimal, so this ratio should be much better for long-term health. Even though I felt totally fine, on paper it didn't look good. So why did I find this testosterone reading so surprising? Well, since my dose went up a lot, both ACG and testosterone, my total only came up 10%. Alongside with only a 10% increase in my total testosterone, my SHBG went down. I never had my SHBG coming down before, especially while being on exogenous testosterone. That never happened to me. So that was quite surprising. However, my free testosterone went way up and is currently sitting at 3.1% of the total, or 74 nanograms per deciliter. My bioavailable testosterone went all the way up to 77.8%, or 1856 nanograms per deciliter. Normally speaking, with men around my age getting their testosterone from natural sources, the balance between testosterone sticking to SHBG and the testosterone sticking to albumin is about 50-50. However, I fully understand that when you're pushing your levels with exogenous testosterone, that after a while this balance will change because your body doesn't need all of that testosterone in order to preserve your sexual functions, muscle mass, and whatnot, which results in higher levels of free testosterone and bioavailable testosterone. However, the part that I do not understand is why my SHBG came down. The fact that my total testosterone didn't come up as much as I expected could also again be down to the NFR, because NFR fights for the same testosterone in order to perform its function. There's a lot of variables that were off this time, that changed a little bit here and there. So I do have to say that parts of this blood work, in my opinion, are probably not going to be as accurate as the ones that I had during previous tests. Because back then I knew exactly what I was doing. There were not that many changes. And this time there were quite a few changes. As I said before, I raised my testosterone, I raised my HCG, I had some changes in my food and lifestyle, I had some changes in my cardio, I used a low dose of Enavor for 2 weeks. All of these could be factors that change things a little bit. I think the most important part is that I feel fine, I don't have any side effects, and my blood work is not alarming, even though it's confusing here and there. I'm sure now that my life has gone back to normal and I started my bulk again, that my blood results that I will be getting very soon will give me the answers that I require. Now let's move on to the next topic, gym progress. My main focus the past few months, 3 months to be exact, has been to build up my squat. Before these 3 months, I hadn't done any squats for over a year. So when I started doing squats again, I was able to do 100 kilo times 5. I'll show you on the screen right now the squat that I did during this week, where I did 120 times 5. As you can see, I'm doing them as to grass and the form is pretty decent. I'm honestly very happy with these results. Adding 20 kilo to my squat in 3 months was my goal and I reached it. My next goal is to reach 140 kilo times 5 at the end of November. Furthermore, I'm curling much more weight, I'm maxing out all of the machines, and I'm adding weight or reps every single week. Next up, my physique update, which I'll be showing you right now. I'm sorry for the low quality, because I haven't made pictures. I actually made progress videos being a natural at 94 kilo last year, and I made another video this week. But after examining the videos, I saw that the poses were too different, so I made screenshots in both of the videos where the poses looked pretty similar, and you can see a massive difference between the two. I'm very happy with my results, even though in the past month and a half, I only focused on looking lean again and getting beach body ready. I actually reached 97 kilo a month and a half ago, but knowing that my friend was coming for 3 weeks for a vacation, I decided to do a recomp at the same weight. Normally I would show you lists of my weight and the calories that I've counted and whatnot, but the past month I've basically just been eating 2 meals and a shake every single day. My weight has remained between 95 and 96.5 the entire time, and I didn't count any calories. Side effects. Honestly, I feel great. However, I do have some small new side effects. During my 8-week update video, I was talking about having hair loss. Thankfully, that's something that I actually dealt with by using derma rolling, and I think because my hormones stabilized after a while. I'm a firm believer that if you're dealing with low doses, that the side effects mainly come from the swings of hormones and not so much the burden of hormones. As you can see, I have all my hair on my head and it's not see-through. Also, a topic that I covered during my 8-week update was that I didn't really notice much of an increase in my libido. However, after raising my testosterone by 25% and my HCG by 40%, my libido was definitely impacted. I've also had to deal with a few small spots of acne on my back here and there, but I'm literally talking about 5 to 6 spots popping up every now and then. Before touching testosterone, I was always able to grab my hands and hook them behind my back. That is no longer possible, and scratching my own back in all places has become impossible as well. Is that a side effect? I don't really think so. It's just part of getting gains. The goals right now are the following: to get 105 kilo body weight in November, 140 kilo times 5 squat, and to focus on the weaker elements of my body in order to even it out a little bit. I will keep monitoring my blood work every 2 months, and I will keep doing my cardio, kidney protection protocol, and whatnot. If my blood work allows it and I continue feeling great, I plan to do this until the end of November. So until the end of November, you can expect 2-month updates from this channel. A lot of time and effort has gone into the making of this video, because a big part of this video has been filmed with the microphone off. I would really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe in order to make me feel better.